When former President Donald Trump was in Grand Rapids yesterday, you saw some sheriffs standing behind him. Should they have been there? Sheriff's offices receive federal funds, and the Hatch Act limits political activities by government employees involved in federally funded programs. News 8's Amanda Porter spoke with a legal professor at Cooley Law. Amanda has a deeper discussion if the Hatch Act applies. Amanda?
I listened to the many viewers and wanted to give you a direct answer straight from the mouth of a legal professor. I took the question about law enforcement standing behind former President Donald Trump in his rally yesterday straight to Cooley Law professor Jeffrey D. Schwartz. He told me the officers standing behind Trump were not in violation of the Hatch Act.
Were these law enforcement officials standing behind former President Donald Trump at his rally in violation of the Hatch Act? Many watching wanted to know. So I interviewed Cooley Law professor Jeffrey D. Schwartz, who says there are a couple issues to consider. Number one was if they were law enforcement that were regular street cops or detectives on duty for Donald Trump's protection detail.
If the former president is paying for their duty time, their off-duty time, providing protection for himself through his campaign, that's okay because they've been hired to do that duty by the campaign.
Secondly, Schwartz explained about regular law enforcement officers sitting in the crowd behind Trump.
That does create a problem under the Hatch Act because every single law enforcement agency in this country receives federal funds. So the issue is whether they, as the ultimate recipient, for example, their tools and or their weapons, whatever they may be, are paid for by the federal government. You have to look to see whether the person who's in charge of the disbursement of federal funds is there. If that person is there, then it really is a problem.
Van Buren County Sheriff Dan Abbott and Allegan County Sheriff Frank Baker were both at the news conference. Elected officials like sheriffs, Schwartz says, are exempt.
Because they are an elected official, and therefore, under the Hatch Act, they are a state officer or a state employee, but because they are a partisan elected official, they are not covered under the Hatch Act.
The governor isn't covered under the Hatch Act or many other state leaders.
Lieutenant governor, the attorney general are all not covered under the Hatch Act. Some other office holders may be, if they are involved in, again, receiving federal funds or dispersing federal funds.
There are other state officials who were also exempt under the Hatch Act.
People who are not classified under the state or municipal merit or civil service system can also be exempted, depending upon whether they work for an executive department or not.
Politics, of course, can be confusing, but the answer is
no. They are not covered under the Hatch Act for the former president, even though he receives a pension and federal funds to run his office and his protection detail.
Schwartz says, generally speaking, you don't normally see people charged under the Hatch Act for just being at an event like a rally. It's important to remember that the former president of the United States is not a federal officer and is not a part of the federal government. The people around Trump also weren't part of the federal government, so the Hatch Act doesn't cover them. Now, the Allegan Sheriff Frank Baker and prosecuting attorney Maureen Cook released a statement today reading in part, "I deeply appreciate President Trump taking the time to meet with me, Prosecutor Cook, sheriffs, and several legislators to discuss ways to make our communities safer. We had a great discussion about how our unsecured border is allowing the trafficking of illegal drugs into our country. I was able to speak with him about the impact methamphetamine and fentanyl is making on our communities," Baker said. Now, the full statement is available right now on woodtv.com. Amanda Porter, News 8.